Fellow castaways, we are back, and here is the 8 ore, 6 coal mining location that I've created as my main base. After the base tour, I'll show you how I connected these independent columns and roof pieces into one functionally useful roof. It may seem simple, but sometimes you'll run into situations where order does matter, and it doesn't always seem to make sense. We're at 190, negative 38. Alright, let's jump right in. On the roof, I've got my assembly line set up, along with breeding. I just recently started breeding and got my first worker with all of those passives. We've got some storage for blueprints and materials, and all of the workstations and assembly lines. A couple of traders here in the viewing cage. Logging sites, and my stoner is missing. Slacking on the job. Places to rest. Stairs in case I want to expand. I'm thinking about putting the goalposts up top and making an arena. This ranch space is for pals who don't need to be near the fridge, and there's more room for breeding. One thing I chose to do that has helped out a lot is name my traders based on what they're selling. That way, when I go to speak to them, I can see their name and back out early. It just saves some time. Moving on, this is the stairway in the center, mostly for me, but the pals use it too, leading to my desk area with a fireplace and grand piano. Very cozy. Extra storage for everything, along with a break area if you want to get energized. Some soul food. What the fwack? There's my stoner. Alright. Well, at least we know where he's at. And here's my bedroom. This is a great place to sit back and reflect on all of the great times and the not so great times. I mean, it's cool. I'm not bad. Most of the action is taking place here on the main floor. Near the PAL box, I keep a repair bench as well as storage and the condenser. This center area is the hot potato zone. There's cooking and refining. This is where I keep my ranch that needs to be near the fridge. This is also the main feeding area. PayPal only. Lunch today will be salad, and for dinner we'll be having salad. The mill and crusher are located here in the center of the garden area for convenience to the water pals. There are also wheat and berry plantations, and on this side we have our coal nodes. Although for some reason one of mine is bugged out and won't respawn. I've looked under the map and found some resources, but getting rid of those hasn't fixed it. This is the war room, where all of the strategy goes down and a little bit of R&R. There's a wraparound hallway on both sides. This side leads to the ore nodes, as well as a command post. I don't really use this area too much, but it's there. Most of the PAL beds are located on this side. I made sure to include a lot of the larger ones because they do a better job. There is also one sulfur node here, located very close to the base. It's the only one that's this close, but if you hop down here regularly, then it should be all that you need. Most people buy their ammo anyways. I have allocated walkways that are 2 wide and a minimum of 4 high all throughout the base. In the first level, it's actually 6 floors to account for this mound in the middle. I really like the large and open design for aesthetics, but I did it functionally for the alpha Yormantides. I'd like to be able to keep them around, although right now I just have a Flarados. I tried to get the most out of the lighting options available, and what I noticed is they kind of work within proximity, so you can't really get the entire base to glow up all at once. I've used a combination of the low lamps and the ceiling lamps, and the ceiling lamps actually seem to work a lot better for illuminating what's above that ceiling than what's below it. But yeah, this is what it looks like at night. Pretty sweet. Optionally, you could forego some of the walls and keep a more open look, but I liked it closed off. Before I dive into the build guide, I just want to mention that I've got more coming as far as videos showing off other locations you might be interested in. So if you'd like to, please subscribe and stay in touch with me, and you'll get notified when I do post those videos. I've got areas for each of the resources, as well as some that are just notably cool for their own reasons. And especially this one, which I think is quite underrated, and I'll explain why. Okay, let's go. The first step to establishing a solid roof is to build all of the necessary foundations that are either gridlocked perfectly or as close as we can possibly get them. This center foundation is gridlocked to the right side, but is not gridlocked here to this lower foundation path around the perimeter. What I usually do is find the most difficult area and start working from it, and usually lower up, because you can build a wall up from that low foundation, and you can attach a new taller foundation in perfect height sequence with the roof to continue your build in the areas where elevation would prevent you from adding more foundations. Okay, that was a mouthful. And it might sound complicated, but it's really not that difficult. Okay, here's an example of wanting to go up one level. I build this structure, and I align myself perfectly into the cardinal direction, and that helps me eliminate one of the axis of errors. I know that I'm perfectly aligned there. Then I use some type of reference to get centered, usually looking through the window behind. I think I've got a center post that I'm using. And now I just start backing up a little bit because I know it's clipping in. And then when it turns blue, I know that, okay, now it's open. So I just need to get perfectly on that one direction and horizontal. Now I start figuring out, okay, where's the vertical clipping? And it's not just where the clipping is, but sometimes you have to leave a little bit of a gap, and you always have to test it. So we're going to just build another roof next to it. Build a wall and see how those compare as far as, are they going to be perfect? Because it might be close enough for you, but that could lead to problems down the line. And this is pretty close, but that's a little bit too much of a gap. It's kind of sad because, man, vertically, we hit it dead on. The only way to get better at this is to try again. Here's another area. This wall is not part of this foundation, but I put the foundation as close to perfect as I could in alignment because I wanted to add some more to that area that was just off the edge of the cliff. And if you do it perfectly, you'll end up with something like this. Rise and grind. Enjoy your time trying to connect the roof. You'll fall off. Trust me, it happens. And then you're going to encounter situations where, man, it doesn't seem like it wants to work, and it's all just one big puzzle. You delete a piece, add a piece. It's just a result of them not being 100% gridlocked. And from what I've discovered, it is possible to perfectly align independent structures to make them gridlock, but it's difficult, and sometimes you can make do getting it close enough. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. and subscribe to get notified about future content.